Hey, Carl, thanks for being here. You hear me well?
Yes, it's perfect.
Beautiful. Okay. Hey, again, thank you very much for doing this, Carl. I know you were in Quebec just a couple of days ago.
Yeah, I was stuck there because of the virus thing.
The virus, eh? And how was it in Quebec? Is everybody like, there's nobody on the streets, nothing?
Nothing. It was that I was in old Quebec. There's no tourism anymore. So I was
Oh my God.
all alone at 8 p.m. No one, all the restaurants are closed. Everything is closed. So I have the city for all by myself.
Yeah, I know, but it must be really sad for people trying to make a living because Quebec lives off of tourism.
Yeah,
for
a lot. So even if this thing ends, if the tourism doesn't come back, they will have a bit of a hard time. Yeah,
I think so. Carl, let's get straight to it, right into it. No messing around. Again, thank you for being here, right? Now, Carl, obviously your first game wasn't No Retreat, right?
Yes, it was.
It actually was your first game?
Yeah.
Your first game? No, that was it.
My first design game it's the first game I designed. I tweaked games a lot, and for a while, when in the 80s, 90s, I was a dungeon master for Dungeons and Dragons. So I did a lot of creative stuff, modules, stuff like that, miniature rules also. But my first war game, that was No Retreat. But not the one that you see sold at GMT, the Victory Point game one. The GMT one was made look better, and they added a few modules, but it's the same game. So yeah,
it's the same game, eh?
Game.
Now, would you call your No Retreat games like the Polish front and the French front? I don't know the Polish front, but the Italian front and all that. Would you call those expansions, or would you call that a game on itself?
Well, a good question. It's both, because I did the No Retreat. I thought that I would only do one game, and then people wanted to have more, so I decided to adapt the system to other theaters. But I never had it as a series from the start. It means that all the following games, I had to adapt the rules to make it fit to that specific scale or theater. So they're all the same, but all different. In fact, some of the turn system is not the same from one game to the other. But I will try to go back, if possible, for my next game on the West Front. I will try to go back to the original No Retreat one ways of doing things if I can. Depends on the game, depends on the topic. But they're all the same, but they don't have the same rules. I don't have a rule book that series for all the games.
Now, were you surprised at the success of No Retreat, the Eastern Front or the Russian Front? What did you call it, Carl?
The Russian Front.
Yeah, the Russian. Were you surprised at the success?
Well, I was just happy to have a small game put out. It was a kind of a challenge, because the form factor of the Victory Point games, it's like 40 cards, 11 by 7 by 7, 11 by 10 map, and 24 cards. It's almost nothing. So I like small games, so it was fun to do that. But yeah, I was surprised. I was really surprised that the people like it. I was happy about it, but I never had any second thought about all of this. I wanted to make a small game. In fact, I saw an ad in the GMCC 3i magazine by Alan Emmerich. He's starting his game, Victory Point Games, and he said, well, if people are interested in designing a game for me, give me a call, and we'll see what will happen. And I decided to do exactly that. So.
Well, look, I have a question from Nathaniel Robinson, and I don't even know what he means by that. Maybe you do. So you can see what's written there, right? But I'll read it anyways. Why do you give so many opportunities for the inactive player in your games? You get pushback for counter blows?
I don't understand the pushback for counter blows thing, but I do that because I've played a lot of games where you can just go and read a book for half an hour as your opponent will do the moves. So I'm trying to do games with short turns, keeping both player active. So yes, I'm trying to give as many opportunities as I can to the inactive player to do stuff, play cards, stay in the game, always stay there and try to see what will happen instead of just being a passive player. And by the way, you see the less and less you move games nowadays in war games. You see a lot of chip pulls, stuff like that, so that player will just play a small part of their units and then the other guy will do it. A lot of time, I think it's not a good idea for the simulation to do that for a lot of battles of scales. But as a game, if you can pull it off, it's much better to do it that way. I'm experimenting with that system right now, in fact, with a new series I want to do. So both have their advantages and disadvantages, and that's probably why the card-driven game has been so popular. Not only you play cards and it's fun, you have text on it, but I play a card, you play a card. It's a back and forth move and attacks that is really nice because you don't stay inactive for a long time. More and more game would get like this. So,
now, when you started the No Retreat, and I didn't know that was your first game.
Yeah, that's my first.
Who did you study? Whose style did you study? Designer style did you study to formulate your ideas and your mechanics?
That's a good question because I've started playing games at 10, like in 1975. So I've played almost everything from everyone, at least once each designer. But for my No Retreat, one of the game I really liked, I speak about that in my booklet. I really like playing a Russian campaign, the whole Avalon game. I played that as a teen, hours and hours, and I could probably play the game eyes closed. And I wanted to redo that game smaller at the size and that I wanted, plus add cards and stuff like that. So I would say it's Russian campaign. It's the game that got me the most ideas from my game. As a style, I really like the combat table of Mr. Von Boris. He does the game for GMCs. He has a really nice combat tables, and I like all his games. And I got inspired about that system a bit, and also some card-driven games, obviously, for the cards. Especially the system with on my cards, you have two sides on the same cards. So one deck by player. So we have the top card is for like the German players, and the bottom part of the card is for the Russians.
Okay, Carl. I mean, because we live in the same general area.
Well, we played a few times.
Yeah, we got to meet and we played, and you taught me a lot of stuff because, I mean, I talk big like I'm a war gamer, but obviously,
well,
I'm not a war gamer, especially not at your level. You started playing since you were 10, but the thing is, you're smarter than me, so you know what I'm saying. But I keep bugging you to make solo games, something solo game, and you're reluctant to make a solo game. You're like, nah. Why is that?
I'm making two in my next No Retreat battle series, where it's at GMT again. Are doing that. You have 5 games, small games in a box, and I decided to do them by year of World War II. So my first is No Battle 1942. There's 5 games in it. And in fact, 2 solitaire games will be included in the game. I will have Dieppe and Stalingrad, because they are really, really easy to do solitaire. You had one defending player not moving a lot, and you can easily do a paper computer engine for that. I did a solitaire game for my No Retreat, a solitaire module for my No Retreat.
Yes, yeah.
But it's not really a solitaire module because the trick is that you switch side at different points in the game, so you're becoming your best enemies. But gamers always do that when they play solitaire. What I don't like in pure solitaire game is either they're one-dimensional, like the really great U-boat series, The Hunter, The Hunted.
Gregory M.
Excellent game, but I mean it's pretty much a control randomness. You don't have artificial intelligence in that. Doing a good paper opposition solitaire, it's really, 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 really hard to make the game fun, interesting. There are some the Compass game Ardennes is really great, but it's so much work.
Yeah, I have it, and I haven't put it on the table yet.
It's a really great design, but it's really a lot of work for both the designer to have made that great game, and for the players playing it. It's far better to find someone to play against.
No, I know, I understand, but you know what?
Really, the computer games are nice. The computer games, the war games, you can do something. Forget the AI. It's much easier to do solitaire computer games because you have the more power at your fingers that you can put into the design. So a good paper solitaire game X-based, really hard to do something nice for the effort you put in. So that's why I don't like them very much.
Now,
yeah.
Now, you making a solitaire game, would you subcontract the solitaire system to someone else, or are you going to do it?
No, I'm good. It's already done, in fact, in the solitaire system. But as I said, the two battles are Dieppe and Stalingrad, where you have. It's easy to make a solitaire game out of that because of the parameters are pretty much fixed. So yeah, I will do it when it's done. Yeah, I'm using cards to activate some part of the fronts for the AI player. So
okay.
I think it would be very interesting to see what.
You know what? I've actually bugged you about this game because you showed it to me. Bobby Factor. Is there any chance of the submarine game you mentioned already having complete every? Is it going to be released? I think it's 2 years. I've been asking you for that game.
Oh, it was done 5 years ago. I think 6 more than that.
And you know, I know you. You're not a lazy man. So what gives? What's que pasa, Carl?
It was supposed to be done by Victory Point Games, and I was supposed to redo a part of it, and then I had other things to do because it's not my real job as most game designer.
Yeah.
You're doing something else, and when you have time, it's your hobby. So
yes, of course.
Senior engineer, so I worked already a lot, and I'm even amazed I was able to do that many games. So I did not have the time to finish it. Well, not to finish it because the game is finished. It's been tested, but I want to rework it and change the graphics and change some stuff because since then I've evolved as a designer also, and I've seen more solitaire games give me more different ideas. By the way, that submarine games, it's not really a submarine games. Well, it is. But it's called U-boat Peril, but you don't play the submarines. You play the escorts and the convoy.
Oh.
So that was never done. So it's
okay.
It's not a submarine game. Well, in fact, it's a destroyer and escort and convoy game.
Now you told me you're retired. So can we expect more games from you?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I kind of stopped after 33 years at 55. I retired from my engineering job right now since December.
Yeah.
So I'm doing.
Congratulations.
I was doing skiing a lot, but I stopped because of the virus. So for a month right now, I'm doing game designs. So yes, I will try that full time to see what will happen. I will probably quadruple my output.
Quadruple, eh?
Yeah, but I will do a lot of design stuff until I'm sick of it. But I have an income coming in. I'm not doing this as a living. It's a retiring project for a few years. We'll see what will happen with all of this.
Okay, let me ask you another question here. So, okay, we breached solo games. Are there any other solo games other than your submarine?
That one works well as a solo, by the way. Besides the two games that will be no retreat battles, Dieppe and Stalingrad, am I doing Outer Solitaire? No, it's not something I like doing that much, as I explained. So no Outer Solitaire stuff, but you never know. Perhaps yes later on, but if I do some stuff, it will be a module for a two-player game. It won't be a return only game.
And you know what, Carl? Just like that, a lot of designers, you know David Thompson, right? The designer for Undaunted Normandy and okay. Now I don't know if it's me, but he's starting a little bit of a trend in going into really obscure little battles that happened. Is that ever going to happen with you? Are you going to pick a weird subject in a war somewhere that nobody's ever heard of?
Well, yes, because that's fun to doing it. If players want to play that kind of game, sure. I will do in my No Retreat Battles series. I will do some pretty obscure stuff if it's interesting.
Well, I'm sure. Look, it is very interesting. To me, it's very interesting because I never heard of the Castle Itter battle, Germans fighting Germans, and it freaks me out. And I learned something. And something. He's doing another game now. I forget, but you know what I'm saying. And I love the designs. They're simple for a guy like me. And let me ask you something. Why did you never want to play No Retreat with me? Is it because I'm stupid?
Really?
You never wanted to play No Retreat. You never wanted to play No Retreat, man.
Well, I have so much fun playing Combat Commander with you that I'm not tired yet.
Good answer. Good answer.
You want to play? No problem.
Good answer, but good answer.
Okay, so the Germans.
Let's go back to No Retreat. It doesn't seem like you've come to the end of the road with the No Retreat series. I think you're going to go on and on and on.
No Retreat 5 is supposed to be the last of the No Retreat, the front series. So after the number 5, I was supposed to stop. I wanted perhaps to do some modern stuff, Korea Wars, the Arab-Israeli War eventually, but that was before I retired, so I had no time to doing that. So I decided after No Retreat 5, the Western Front, I'm stopping that No Retreat series, and I started the No Retreat Battles instead with smaller games, easier to do. But yes, it was not my intention to continue after No Retreat 5, but then I have more time, so I started the No Retreat Battle series. And other stuff also. There's a company that will put out No Retreat World War One. I will put the system into World War One. It's always a kind of World War One in No Retreat, the Italian front, because of the fixed front. I have some rules tricks I use for that. So I will have a few adaptations for artillery, and then a few adaptations for the cards for World War One. But I will do a series of No Retreat to the World War One also.
Okay, it's always card driven, right? Always.
Oh yeah, same thing. But I'm not a one-trick horse, so I'm preparing other series. I have a Napoleonic series coming in, using blocks and cards, wood blocks. Those games will be really small form factor, again, as the first No Retreat, because that's what I like doing. And inexpensive, but deluxe components. It will probably be printed in Poland. And they will be, well, do we have a box? Okay, I have it here. Just to give you an idea, it will be about that size, the box.
Okay.
You will have a couple of war games in it, $30. Mounted boards, A1 components, wooden bits, or thick cardboard, and they even have a magnetic stopper on it.
Yeah, you were talking about that. Yeah. When is this going to come out, Carl?
I think I will submit my design is almost finished. I will submit that probably in September. So I don't know when they will do it. Probably not before next year because of the situation in the virus things in Europe. So it will be a Napoleonic series.
And when you say Napoleonic series, you're talking about the whole of the Napoleonic War, or you're talking about a specific era in his? I
will do battles, 2 battles per box.
So, and are you going to start at the beginning, or you're going to just pick and choose?
Oh no! Well, I started from the beginning. It's not that I decided to do it. It ended up like that. So I will do first Marengo and Austerlitz, first few battles, and then if it goes well, I will go on to doing other games. It's really a series, so the same system for all the games.
No,
you're talking about player. We were talking about player input. I would do that kind of game would be playable in about 2 hours, but both players will almost play at the same time. I have a few surprises for that game. That game system, Napoleonic game system.
Well, I mean,
really dynamic.
Nathaniel Robinson asks you, do you intend No Retreat Battles to be a modular system? And what would the components be like?
I don't know what it means by modular, but yes, the system will be the same core rulebook. So you will have a series rulebook that will be the same for all the games. And as much as possible, I will keep the scale and all the rules consistent between the games. But modular, I thought doing that for the Napoleonic games with the same kind of card for both sides. You have an Austrian pack of cards, a Prussian pack of cards. For No Retreat Battles, the battles are so different into each game that there's not that many components that will be used for the games. The markers, of course. The maps will be two-sided, so one map will be used for two games. But will you be able to make your own battles with your own generic counters like a game kit? Could be an interesting idea, though.
I think so.
Yeah.
I like the idea.
So the components will be the same as the No Retreat GMT, the first game. Same type of counters, same type of cards. Smaller boards, though, because I have 4 or 5 battles per box, so it's half maps, double-sided. That's probably it.
And is there a reason why you're printing it in Poland?
No, that's the GMT game.
Oh, that's the GMT game. Okay,
Yes.
no, yes, the battle ones, but I'm talking about the Napoleonic ones. Sorry.
Well, I don't know the details. I'm not the editor, but I know a lot of companies in Europe that are printing stuff in Poland. I saw some demos of what they do, and it's really impressive. It's better than the Chinese, in fact.
Really?
Well, if you can say that the Chinese they are really good, because GMT, a lot of stuff is printed in China.
Right.
It's good. I think they are using German printing machines for that, for what I know. But the stuff from Poland is really nice. Really
Okay.
nice.
I've got a few games from a company in Poland, and the quality is a little bit,
Yeah.
like,
I've got a game that I received not long ago from a new German company. It's called Conflict Simulation. This one is made in Poland also. And if you look at
games, Wuka.
yeah, the map is really cool. It's mounted. The counters you see, like mine, they are rounded and quite thick and really nice.
Okay.
Great quality.
Now, okay, let me see. Let me ask you a question here, Carl. What's
I haven't finished about my project.
Go ahead.
2 things. I will go into Euros. I will do a few Euro games eventually at the end of this year, because that's where the money is. Plus, for a German company, I will do a whole series about ancient, medieval, Dark Ages battles. There will be the system will be called 100 battles, but there will be probably 100 battles per era. So we will have a total of 300 battles. And Nathaniel asked about the modular system. This game system will be a modular system.
Now,
So you'll be able to mix and match component and cards, and this new system I will make it modular. But I won't put 100 battle per box, because the rule book will be that thick.
yeah.
Only 30, and add if there is interest, I will add modules inexpensive module that you can buy with extra battles in them. But I will do the whole ancient, medieval, and then you will see a lot of obscure battles you were talking about.
Yeah.
But again, small form factor, not more than 24 counters. I have a design philosophy. Try not to have more maneuver units than chess pieces in the chessboard. So usually 24 counters or 24 stacks, and I don't like big stacks either. It's two counter maximum. 24 counters maximum per side, even less than that. When you start a game, 12, you can add more. That's the maximum I want to do with my games. I don't want to do monster games where you have too many counters and stuff like that. And I don't like it.
Now, why did you choose to really scale down the amount of components in your game? Is it because you just don't want to see stacks, or is it a design idea you had?
Yeah, it's all of that. Well, the first game I did, No Retreat, that was imposed on me, that the number of counters and the size, the low number, was imposed by Victory Point Games because they wanted to do small games. I admit that if I did that all by myself, started that project by myself, I'll probably have done it with 5 times that more countries.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Whoa. Okay, so that's a challenge and a half.
Yeah, so it imposed on me, but I like small games already. It imposed on me a difficult design choice, and I had to invent way around to make it work. And in fact, I think it made for a better game. So I'm always trying to have a really small set of form factor to help me focus on the games. So yes, after doing that, I decided to stay in that line of simple games without too many counters, and I like it. So I don't see myself doing anything else than that. That's for sure. So if I have a trademark, it's like not more than 44 counters in my game, if possible.
40.
The 100 battles will be a bit different because it will be a modular system. So I will need a bit more counters so you can do in a box all the medieval battles or all the ancients. It's a challenge though, but it will be interesting to see. That game is a bit, even if I haven't played it yet. But the game Undaunted you're talking about, I have it, but I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, myself so too.
It's a deck building game. So that ancient game system, it will be a deck building game. Before the battle, you have options that when you make your play deck of cards for use for the maneuvers and the attacks and all that. So this one will be really, really modular. If you don't like the mix I've made for the scenarios, you see Canny is not supposed to be like that. Well, take the other cards and make your own deck and own scenarios. You will be able to do that if you want. A lot of answering. It's a bit like the old press tag game system that SPI did. It's all modular.
Okay, Carl, you have a proposition here. Ronald Nicholson is approaching retirement, and he'd like to get back into pre-production play testing if you need it.
So, yeah, I'm always needing people. So
we'll take down his name. I'll give it to you later.
Oh, by the way, Silver Star, the ambush module. I have all those modules. The ambush module, the ambush game. That's an excellent solitaire game system. Even it's a bit burdensome to replay. I've played all the games over 25 years ago. Yeah, after that lapse, I don't remember any of it anymore. But perhaps the first scenario where you have a Typhon plane crashing.
Yeah.
And at one point in my life, I will lock myself up for a few weeks, and I will replay the whole bit.
Okay, so there's no chance you selling those games to me then, right?
No, you can borrow them if you want. And the Panzer Command game, the first time I went to New York as a teen, as a college student with my friend, we went to the Complete Strategist, and that's the game I bought there. First time I went to New York.
You mean back then?
Yeah, in 85, 86, I think.
So they've been around a long time there, the Complete Strategist.
Yeah. Oh, yes, they were there in the SPI's days. I think they were doing some SPI playtesting, in fact, at the Complete Strategist.
So how does it compare to Valet de Coeur?
Valet de Coeur is much better. Complete Strategist was a mess, but it was so exciting. I saw those like walls of ASL boards that you could buy, and there was games everywhere. It was like a Alibaba cavern of stuff. But Valet de Coeur is much more French.
So you see, what Carl and I are talking about is a brick and mortar store in Montreal. And if anybody is ever in Montreal, go visit this place. It's called Valet de Coeur, the Jack of Hearts, but in French. And very impressive, very, very impressive with everything they got. And they have, as soon as you walk in, you're going to have all these trinkets and that, and you're not going to think that this place has any war games, but in the back, it's just full of war games, man. And you just sit down, you pull drawers open, and it's full of magazine games. And I went to Valet de Coeur before the coronavirus hit, and I bought the second I bought the expansion to the first edition of Space Infantry by Gotardo Zancani, and it was $20. Like,
Yeah.
pick it up. I just wanted it, but whatever. Okay, Carl.
They've been open since 1981, if I remember well. I went there when at the overture of the store, so I'm one of their oldest customers.
Seriously, eh?
They see me coming, they lock the doors. They don't get in anymore.
It's personally, I love it, and I'm glad you went to the complete strategist. And does it hold up in terms of games, Carl? Does Valetcar have more games than the complete strategist?
Strategists at mostly war games, but at the time I went, there was not many euros anyway. It was Dungeons and Dragons, a few war games, and
okay,
a few euros. So it's not at all the same kind of store.
Okay. Well, I've never been. I mean, I know it's in New York, and if I ever get to New York again, for sure I'll go.
I don't know. It's not. Is it still open?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I have to see that.
For sure, it's still open.
86 and now. I was not aware that it was still open. Oh, that's cool.
Hey, we got Julien T. Salut les gars. Carl, you like games with less components, and you mentioned chess. Do you play abstract games, and have you considered designing one with a war game flavor? Great question.
That game, yeah, sure. I play all kind of game. I don't play only war games. I've played role-playing games for like 20 years. Miniature figurines. In fact, we created a club at our university at the time when Euro games were not fad yet. They were not known very much. And we introduced those games to players, and it was a big success from the start. So after that game, I played competition chess when I was in college. So yeah, sure, I play a lot. One with a war game flavor.
Like Root. You know that game Root?
Yeah.
It's I don't know, but it seems to be a coin game.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a bit of a war game on the side.
Right.
So yeah, perhaps one day I want to go into Euro games, and in fact, the Euro games I will do will be Euros, but with a war game hidden under it. So players will kind of be playing a war game but won't know it. So I have 2 or 3 projects. I have a science fiction game I want to do with a bot inside, so you play 2 players. But you also have a bot playing the 3rd player. So players have to compete against each other, but they also have to cooperate against the bot. If not, they will both lose the game. So that's a science fiction game I want to do, plus a few others. So it will be more of an abstract game, but yes, they will have definitely there will be a war game flavor in it.
Now it makes me think of a war game that I really enjoy this whole scenario, the whole ambiance, and it's Heart of Darkness, Nuclear Winter '68.
Yes,
where NATO is fighting against the Germans who come out from underground, but then there's a faction called the Black Hand that just pops out of nowhere and will attack whatever, So it makes me think of that.
Yeah, well, and one game I will help doing a few scenarios for is a remake of I don't know if you know it was a Kickstarter game, Red Storm.
Red Storm.
Yeah.
Was that the game you showed me where it has a story or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So there is 2. You have one for the east front, one for the west front. Kind of Panzer Blitzkrieg. So each player has a small shield, and you start a scenario. But both players, you don't know at all where the opponent is, what are his objectives, and you have all those events happening. Of course, after doing the scenario once, you kind of burned on it. So there is a remake of that in the works, and I will probably do the scenarios for it.
So that company is redoing that game?
Yes, it will be redone with counters instead of blocks. The game system will be changed. Check it on Board Game Geek. There's a lot of talk about that. So I will do the scenarios for that, but it will mix kind of role play with war games also, because you will have events happening, popping out all the time. So it's a bit like the legacy Risk stuff, and where you modify the game when you go out. So
It's funny. I've never played Legacy Risk. I know Risk. I started playing Risk with my friends many, many, many years ago, and then getting into these other war games, it was much more
yeah.
diverse and deep. And when Risk Legacy came out, everybody loved it, but I
But
never tried it.
the thing is, once you play the game, you have to kind of damage it, because you put stickers on it, you open envelopes, and when it's done, it's done. The experience is there. But anyway, we don't have time to play all our games, so why not play our legacy games?
Yeah, and Carl, Euro games. What Euro games do you play?
Oh, well, I like the pre-Euro games, in fact, like the old Avenel 1830, Titan, and stuff like that. The first kind of war game Euro games. That's the one I will play most. But I can play pretty much everything. I have a good library of all those, a lot of Euro games.
Okay, I've just recently, because of Jeff McAleer of the Gaming Gang,
Yeah.
he showed me. Well, he was playing those exit games, like it. They compare it to trying to get out of a room. They put you in a room and try to get out now, and you have to figure out this, figure out that.
Yeah. I think I've seen that. I don't have it. I think I've seen it somewhere, but I don't remember the title of it.
Yeah, I just, the thing is, once you're finished the game, because you destroy it, you can't even give it to someone. It's just,
Buy it again.
you have to buy. Yeah, but I'm just saying. Anyways, they have a whole series of that, and it's fun.
Well, speaking of that abstract game you were talking about, with the Germans, and that like the group that is popping up.
Yeah.
Project I started a long time ago, also Victory Point Games, that I want to do, one of my tons of projects. It would be a war game, but abstract. One game I liked a lot when I was young was Navalny Kriegspiel. The name was Kriegspiel.
Okay, so that's a.
It was really bad, but it was an abstract war game, a bit like Tactic 1, the Tactics 2, the first ever war game. It's the big green, big blue against the big red. It's completely hypothetical, so it's like a chess game. I have a system I want to do also like this, a modular, but it's really a war game, a purely invented world with. How can I say that in English? With imaginary countries, and so in that way you can design a game, because when you're doing a war game, historical war game, you are constrained by history. That war story series, yes, okay, that's so. With a game that is purely hypothetical, you can pretty much do whatever you want in terms of design, what the troops you want to use and everything. You don't have to follow history, so that's an interesting thing I want to try out. But the editors, they are not very keen to go that way. They are not really interested in that kind of non-historical war game.
You need GMT.
Yeah. I have I'm a really bad seller at it. Perhaps that's why I will wait perhaps 2-3 years, and I will try again to push that series somewhere.
Carl, I've got a weird question here. Okay, I'm going to put it on. I have no idea what this guy is saying. It's Rockhopper01. Okay, so if you don't want to answer it, you just tell me. I'm not going to answer it. I'm going to take it down. But I'm curious.
Sure.
So, Carl, he says, I've long suspected you were the culprit that picked up my GMT fall sale order when I couldn't pay for it. After my wife hit a deer with her car. Is that true?
I wish.
I don't get it.
I don't know.
I had to put it up. I had to put it up. Okay, let me ask you another question, Carl. Oh yeah, Carl. I know you love. Actually, didn't you say your grandfather was brigadier general of a unit?
Oh no, not that. Not that that high in the. My grandfather fought for World War II from start to finish.
Yes.
He was a master sergeant. He finished a major. He was, in fact, he landed twice in France. Once in June of 1940 with the first Canadian division. Not a lot of people know that, but that division landed in France to reinforce the French, but arrived a bit late. So Rommel's 7th Panzer was coming up his way, so they embarked fast for England, and then he got ashore a second time on D-Day.
Wow.
Yeah, so he went through the whole dancing. He survived up to Holland, and then he got sick at one point, a pulmonary illness. So they brought him back to England for treatment, and 2 weeks after he was back, his replacement was killed.
Wow, man. Unbelievable. Carl, what's your area of expertise in terms of, like, is it Napoleonics? Is it World War II? Is it ancients? Like, what do you gravitate towards?
When I was a youngster, I must have built hundreds of plastic kits. I was really into war airplanes at that time. So my first war game was Luftwaffe.
Yeah,
I bought it in Florida with my Christmas money in '74, I think. And I was on the beach and reading the rules and trying to make sense of them. So I really know airplanes a lot. I know pretty much all the warfare a lot, but I'm really into airplanes, World War II, Napoleonics. But I don't think I will make an airplane war games ever, because I find them really, really difficult to do and hard to simulate, and perhaps a strategic one day. So Napoleonics, yes, I'm a big fan. I did a lot of Napoleonic miniatures when I was younger. So in my area of expertise, World War II, Napoleonics, I would say.
Now, what do you think?
Also naval stuff, I know a lot. Besides the Pacific War, I'm really a newbie in there. So I will do some Pacific War games one day, but not before I know the subjects better. It will take a while.
You mentioned air games. Lee Birmingham Wood has the what's his series called?
Well, he has a few series. The last one with
the latest one, he came out with many expansions.
Yeah, that's interesting. The 2D series where you have a lot of altitude, but you don't have a right-left movement. Is that it?
Hold on a second here. What's it called? Oh, Wing Leader. The Wing Leader series.
Yeah.
Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes.
Now, do you have an opinion on that type of design?
Oh, it's very focused, very interesting design. I haven't played it a lot yet. I want to, but it's something I never saw that kind of air treatment on a game. So it's really, really interesting. I would never have designed it that way. I would never have been able to get that cool idea of doing a horizontal fight only.
Yeah, I wonder where he got that. You know, it must have. Because it's a cool development. I've never seen that either. Okay. Oh yeah.
In my war games, they get a fair share for sure. Not always, because most. I don't want to get into a fight here, but I saw some future games coming up on Board Game Geek, and the Canadians are badly treated. But then the British are badly treated too. But then the designer is American, so it's all okay with me. But anyway, as all minor nations, they don't always get their fair share. And that's a good question, in fact, because in my own stuff, I try to get a fair shake to everyone. So when, like, in my Italian games, I will put a notice about the way the Polish fought so hard for the Italian. They are not very well known for having fought there. Or in my North Africa game, I dedicated the game, in fact, to Greek defender of Crete.
Mm-hmm.
So, and those players and in those countries that they are not really recognized, their armies are not recognized that much because most of the war games are done mainly in America and a bit in Europe. I think it's really important to be sensible to that and to try to give everyone his fair shake. And
Carl,
as everyone knows, in World War II, the Germans always said that the Canadians were the elite of the Allied troops. So
didn't they call them the something devils or something?
Well, no, they call the Canadian the Allied SS. That's what I've read.
Actually, that's not good. But anyways,
The Canadians were sent in the worst places all the time. Were against fortification in Holland in the marshes, and were against the SS in front of Caen and the hard stuff. And they were all volunteers until the end of the war. All Canadian troops were volunteers. So there were a lot of they were all good guys, all the Allied, but the Canadians were special. They were not English, not American. We had the best of both, I think. Best of both worlds. We drank tea and we drove around in American trucks.
Carl, when I first met you, I asked you.
No. Wait. When you first met me, at first I was repainting my pool. If you remember well.
Yes, I remember.
I never saw the guy, and I'm repainting my pool, and I will go and help you repaint your pool. I don't know. I never met you, but I will go there and repaint your pool. And that's a really during the summer season, repainting a large pool like I have. It's a shit work.
It's terrible.
And I said no, because I want to say yes, but I asked my girlfriend and she said, "Are you crazy? A complete stranger will help you paint your pool? No way. You will do it."
I was going to help you.
Yeah, I know. And in fact, I didn't know that you're a good painter.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. So next time.
When I first met you, I said, "Hey, man, I want to get into a system, and I want to get into." And we're going to piss a lot of people off here. I want to get into ASL. And you were like, stop. Stop. Yeah. You said it's not a game system. It's a lifestyle.
Yes.
And, well, the only ASL game I have is actually the ASL starter kit, the first one. And well, it doesn't seem that daunting.
No, but you've seen the rule book.
Yeah, I know.
I was a big ASL fan for a long time. In the 80s, I had all the games. I was doing courses to teach people that game. And at one point, something snapped and I had enough. I found it too complicated, so I gave away everything. I gave away all the games, but I kept the basic squad leader game by Janil, the first of the series. That's a superb game for what you have. The amount of gameplay you can get into one box. It's one of the best war game I know.
Yeah, you're not the first to say that.
But I rebought the rule book without the expansion, just as a reference material. It's really cool, but it's too much work. In a game, there is a lot of tactical systems out there that are really good, that do a better job. But the basic squad leader game, I was able to initiate people to war games. Chess players that I knew at college, I made them play that game as their first war game, no problem at all. Scenario 1, scenario 2, the guards counter-attack. In fact, I think I have a few copies extra, so I will give one to you. It's a must in any wargamer collection, the squad leader game.
Well, thank you.
The rest, it's a really monster game, but I cannot really say to people, don't play ASL, it's bad, it's awful.
No, you never said it was bad. You never said it was bad.
No, I've played it for 20 years and I love it. So but it's really a lot of work. There's so many good games out there. That's the best is if you can have someone play it with you that has all the stuff, and if you like it, then you know what you're getting into.
What about Panzer Blitz, Carl?
What about it?
Because I never played Panzer Blitz, but I have Panzer Leader.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing. I think it was one of the game that was war game that was most sold. It's like
350,000.
My first war game, when I bought it, the Luftwaffe game, I had the choice between that and Panzer Blitz on the shelves. So I had to decide. I should have taken Panzer Blitz in retrospect. But at that time, I was even into airplanes, so I took the Luftwaffe game and a big B-17 148 kit to build back home. So the Panzer Blitz, I never bought it until, oh my God, 10 years later. So it was I think a game that changed a lot the way that people design games, because you had for the first time like tank silhouettes, and it was not odd based, really the same thing as the other games, and the scale was really interesting.
We have I have another
right now today. I will never play that game. It's not.
No, I know what you're saying. We have Nathaniel Robinson, who's asking in a very strange language. He's asking this question. Why don't you read it out, Carl?
Qu'est-ce qu'on doit boire quand on joue un jeu de guerre? And what kind of drink do you have to take? Depends. If I play, okay, I don't drink alcohol anymore. But if I had to play against you, to give you an handicap, I would have to start drinking again. No question asked.
See, I knew it. I know.
You know that. I had to say it because you would have been disappointed. Next game we'll do that.
Yeah.
But
okay. Oh yeah. Okay, Carl. Because I know you. Why don't you like tweezers?
Oh, I never use tweezers. It's if you have to use tweezers to play a game, there's something wrong with that game. No, it's.
Oh man, because I know when
I know you're getting old. No, I like my counter bigger and bigger, and my map smaller and smaller. At one point, the counter would be bigger than the map. I don't know.
So let me just tell
the game I was playing when I was young. Those monster games, I had tiny small fingers. I was able to move those stacks, no problem. I look at that today. I tried to play Mets, the GMT game Mets, and the stacking was more than 3. I said, "Oh, it's no, I don't." I'm starting to be all grumpy about games.
Now,
let
me tell the people what you also do. What Carl does is that he buys a game, but then I don't know if he buys the game twice, but he takes a counter sheet from the same game and glues them together to make thicker counters.
Like
so
the new one I got, you can see that.
Jesus, look how thick that is, man.
Twice the counters. Twice.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's funny because it does. You don't have to use tweezers, and you could pick up the counters with your fingers, no problem. And it's actually really nice. But you know,
yeah, I started that sickness in '94. I still have the original bill from GMC. I bought their Operation Mercury Crete Invasion game, and they had the projection mishap, and the counters were really, really, really thin. So I give them a call, and they, of course, they sent me an extra counter sheet. I had decided to glue both together, and then the pieces were thicker than the regular game piece, and I loved the feeling. I said, well, all the games has to be like this, but at the time most were really thin. Back in the 70s, the Akinto games were really, really thick counters.
Okay.
So most of my game I do that. I use very, very thick counters. But if nowadays more and more games have really better counters. I
Yeah.
call them Euro quality counters because the quality you see in game, a lot of war games, in magazine games, it's fine. I understand why you have 10 counters, but in Euro games, you will never see something like this.
I know.
Never, 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 never. So the quality is getting much better now.
Well, Carl, let me ask you the last question here. Okay, so what game designer, and I say designer, not designers.
I'm not a game designer. I'm a gamer. I design game by accident. It's not.
Okay, fair enough. But my question is, what game designer, and just please give me one, what game designer do you gravitate towards? Like, if you see this name, you buy the game right away. Boom. What would that be?
If I see this name, I buy the game.
Like for me, well, I mean, that's a very difficult question because I've got many different game designers that I just buy like that. But if you can just nail one.
Well, it's my own preference. It's Van Boris. He has done not that many games, a lot from the GNC, a lot. He did a lot of stuff on SPI, the magazine, SNT, sorry. So Van Boris, it's I will like it if he did more games.
Well, he's if I'm not mistaken, he's doing some games for Compass.
Like his game a lot.
I think he's doing some games for Compass.
Yes, he's doing some of his stuff. I don't know. I don't follow him his output right away, but I really like the way he's doing the games, and especially as I said before, the combat tables. I really like the way the mechanics of the frontline move, and it's just feel when I play those games, it's like just flows for me. So
okay, because if I'm not mistaken, I think he did Montélimar from Compass Games, but
yes, okay,
I'm probably wrong. I
don't know. I'm not sure about this one. I'm trying to feel all his game when I can.
Okay, Carl. Well, again, thank you for being here. It was a real pleasure. And I can't wait for this COVID to go over so I can actually hold on a sec. I have beaten you at a game.
Oh yes, twice.
Yeah.
It was the table battle.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you remember that.
Usually, I'm super lucky at dice, and you creamed me all the 2 games. But then it was not fair because we played the Battle of Quebec, and the English always win, and I had the French all the time. There.
Sure, that's okay.
We have to play Combat Commander again.
That's yeah. Okay, so Carl, stick around.
Yeah.
I'm going to end the show. Guys, thank you very much, chat, for being here. And I guess I'll see you next time. So now I'm going to do my outro. And again, thank you very much, Carl. Stick around.
Yeah.